Hello, Namaskar, Vanakkam. My name is Sudhir and you're watching Study with Sudhir. Let's get started with Act 2, video explanations of Macbeth for ISC Class 11. I must point out that in the last video, there were a couple of students who made very uncharitable remarks which were completely unwarranted. Why? Because I had used more English than Hindi in that video explanation, because Act 1, Scene 7 is the most complex of all the scenes in Act 1. और मुझे लगा कि अगर मैं उसमें ज्यादा अंग्रेजी का इस्तेमाल करूंगा तो आपको मदद मिलेगी in order to understand and also to be able to use those words in your video explanations. That was the only reason. Now, my humble submission is that I'm sure there are lots of people who explain it entirely 100% in Hindi or 100% in English, right? I try to do a mix so that I can cater to both constituencies. I would really request you not to make those kind of remarks, because it's the easiest thing for me to just stop doing this, frankly speaking, because on my course, I've got lots and lots of students, and I'm can be just happily just do it for the course and not redo it, the entire thing all over here on YouTube. Okay, but I do it because I do understand that बाकी लोगों को भी मदद की जरूरत होती है. So let's not make those unnecessary, personal, ugly remarks that reflects more on you than on me, right? The next time onwards, I'm going to put out those comments so that your parents also realize the kind of comments that you people have to make. Okay, so this particular scene, Act 2, Scene 1 and Scene 2 के बीच में the murder of Duncan takes place. तो उस वजह से ये Act 1, Act 2, Scene 1 और Scene 2 काफी अहम है. Now, अगर आपसे एक प्रश्न पूछा जाए कि Act 1 और Act 2 में फर्क क्या है, and there are a few students who have been very politely asking me to explain more in English. See, my only thing is that I have done the entire explanation in very simple English, along with notes, along with question answers, along with reasoning questions, along with MCQs, along with doubt solving whenever my students want. Now, obviously, if I've done it in English, there has to be some kind of a differentiator. इसी वजह से मैं यहाँ पर हिंदी में करता हूँ. So, you're most welcome to join the course. I don't think the Macbeth course is expensive. I don't think so, given the kind of quality that we provide, given the amount of content that we are providing on that course. Rest is up to you. So, Act 1 और Act 2 में अगर आपसे कोई फर्क पूछा जाए कि इन दोनों में अंतर क्या है, the main difference, if I may say so, is that पहले एक्ट में जितने भी 7 सीन्स थे उसमें हमने एक तरह का मैकबेथ का जो कैरेक्टराइजेशन है उस पर जब हम नजर डालें तो हमको यह पता चलता है कि एक तरह से उसका बिल्डअप हो रहा है और उसके दिमाग में ये कीड़ा चला गया है कि मुझे राजा बनना है क्योंकि विचेस ने ये प्रोफेसी की है कि मैं राजा बन सकता हूं. सो दैट काइंड ऑफ थिंग हैज गॉन इनटू हिज हेड. एक्ट 2 इज व्हेन ही एक्चुअली इंप्लीमेंट्स इट. Act 2 is when जब उसके हाथों में खून लगा हुआ है. So in that sense, Act 2 is a very dramatic set of scenes जिस पर हमको ज्यादा ध्यान देने की जरूरत है, because यहां से एक तरह से मैकबेथ का along with लेडी मैकबेथ का कैरेक्टर एक तरह से नीचे की तरफ ढलने लगता है. ओके, तो पहले जब इस सीन में Act 2 Scene 1 में पहले मुलाकात हमारी होती है बैंको और उसके बेटे फ्लियंस से, जिसका कि एक प्रमुख पात्र है बाकी के इन द लैटर हाफ ऑफ द प्ले व्हिच यू वुड डू इन क्लास 12. Now Fliance is carrying a torch before him. Now it's very interesting because Act 1 में अगर हमने देखा, लेडी मैकबेथ was seeking darkness, उसको अंधेरा चाहिए था, और यहां पर फ्लियंस में कुछ कहा नहीं जाता, लेकिन एक टॉर्च के साथ योर काइंड ऑफ शेक्सपियर इज कन्वेइंग ए लॉट जस्ट बाय काइंड ऑफ पुटिंग अ टॉर्च इन फ्लियंस's hand. He says, Banco says, रात कैसी है? He says, the moon is down, I have not heard the clock. Now the moon has set, I have not heard the clock strike करके फ्लियंस बोलता है, बैंको बोलता है, एंड शी गोज डाउन एट 12. नाउ इसका मतलब ये है कि जो सेटिंग ऑफ द मून है, द गोइंग डाउन ऑफ द मून की जो बात कर रहे हैं, दैट इज ए रेफरेंस टू द वेरी लेट आवर, एंड मिडनाइट इज द मोमेंट व्हेन जबकि चांद बिल्कुल सबसे हाईएस्ट उच्चतम पॉइंट पर रहता है. तो इसीलिए उस अंधेरे की बात की जा रही है, उस लेट आवर की बात की जा रही है. आई टेक इट इज लेटर सर, कि शायद 12 से ज्यादा बज गए हैं. तो बैंको बोलता है, मेरी तलवार को पकड़ो. there is husbandry in heaven. There is husbandry in heaven. Their candles are all out. Take thee that too, a heavy summons lies like lead upon me. Now, this particular paragraph is very important by Banco. Now, Banco is saying out here that मेरी तलवार ले लो, और यहां पर जो heavens है, husbandry का मतलब है that they are being very miserly, very stingy, काफी कंजूसी दिखा रहे हैं कि आज जो पूरा आसमान है एक तरह से कंजूसी दिखा रहा है, क्योंकि उसके सितारे पूरी तरह से चले गए हैं. Their candles, the candles is referring to the stars. Okay, all the heavenly objects. Take thee that too. Okay, so he says that इसको भी ले लो, शायद अपनी तलवार के साथ साथ डैगर को भी दे रहा है. A heavy summons lies like lead upon me. He says that I'm feeling very tired and drowsy. Heavy summons का मतलब है क्योंकि काफी एक तरह से नींद आ रही है, काफी थकावट है, and it is now being compared here to heavy lead. Okay, it is the tiredness is being compared to lead, and yet I would not sleep. Merciful powers restrain in me the cursed thoughts that nature gives into repose. So he says that लेकिन मुझे सोना नहीं है, क्योंकि जो merciful powers यानी कि the angels of mercy, what do? They are preventing me. They are keeping away the evil thoughts that torment me when I rest. यानी कि the angels of mercy, they restrain in me the cursed thoughts that nature gives into repose. So what is repose का मतलब? आराम, rest. So what is he saying is that one, इससे दो तीन बातें पता चलती हैं. That's what you need to think about. That Banco is feeling a little nervous, even though he's in Macbeth's castle, and Macbeth is presumably his friend. Also, you see there are many short sentences and long sentences in this entire scene. Dramatic way में, drama में, whenever dramatist writes very long passage, it means that the person who is speaking it, उसके दिमाग में थोड़ी सी शांति है. He's calm. He's at peace with himself. लेकिन जब भी घबराहट होती है, you will see that Shakespeare writes very short sentences. It is to convey a sense of tension in the head of the person. और ये पूरा रात का समय है, एंड रात का समय हमेशा शेक्सपियर कुछ अलग और कुछ नेगेटिव होने के साथ एसोसिएट करता है. नाउ व्हाई इज बैंको इन दिस स्टेट ऑफ माइंड? इस तरह का प्रश्न आपसे पूछा जा सकता है, लेकिन क्योंकि आपको ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा कि क्लास 10th की तरह, 9th और 10th की तरह आपसे रेफरेंस टू कॉन्टेक्स्ट क्वेश्चंस नहीं पूछे जाएंगे. ओके, आपसे लंबे वाले 5 to 10 मार्क्स वाले क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाएंगे, या रीजनिंग क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाएंगे, या एमसीक्यूज पूछे जाएंगे. तो उस हिसाब से आपको तैयारी करनी है. सो बैंको ने भी वो सेम भविष्यवाणी सुनी है from the witches, and he's obviously a little troubled. He has also seen the witches, he has met the witches, he has seen them disappear like that into thin air, and they have made a prophecy about him also कि उसके आगे के जो जनरेशन है वो राजा बनेंगे. हालांकि वो राजा नहीं बनेगा, लेकिन मैकबेथ की तरह बैंको उस पर किसी भी तरह से अमल नहीं करता है. ओके, so he's saying that he's finding it difficult to sleep, or he doesn't want to sleep. और उसी समय पर मैकबेथ आता है एक नौकर के साथ जिसके हाथ में भी टॉर्च है. गिव मी माय sword, who is there? So he is asking who is there. He's not able to point out who is coming. Macbeth says a friend, and this is important. This is important that he refers to himself as a friend. He doesn't say Macbeth. अगर आपसे कोई पूछे कि कौन आ रहा है, आप अपना नाम बताएंगे, लेकिन आप ये नहीं करेंगे कि मैं दोस्त आ रहा हूं या दुश्मन आ रहा हूं. तो ये काफी, और ये एक तरह से पॉइंटर है टू द थीम ऑफ फ्रेंडशिप, जिसके बारे में हम पहले साल से ज्यादा दूसरे साल में ज्यादा पॉइंट आउट करेंगे, बिकॉज द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन मैकबेथ एंड बैंको कंप्लीटली फॉल्स अपार्ट. सो द थीम ऑफ फ्रेंडशिप इज एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट, क्योंकि कौन दोस्त है और कौन दुश्मन है, ये इस पूरे नाटक का काफी अहम पहलू है. What sir, not yet at rest, the king is at bed. So he says, क्या आप आराम नहीं कर रहे हैं? और ये राजा already सो गए हैं, and he has been very happy. He has been in unusual pleasure and sent forth great largesse to your offices. यानी कि आपके नौकरों को, आपके जो जितने भी लोग हैं यहाँ पर जो उनकी सेवा कर रहे थे, उनके लिए काफी सारे पुरस्कार, काफी सारे रिवार्ड्स उनको दिए हैं. और आपकी वाइफ लेडी मैकबेथ के लिए ये डायमंड उन्होंने पुरस्कार के रूप में दिया है by the name of the most kind hostess because she has been a very kind hostess and shut up in measureless content and she ensured that he retired to bed feeling most comfortable. measureless content मतलब जिसके की गिनती भी ना की जाए उतनी खुशी के साथ डनकन सोने के लिए गया है. Now this is also important to establish and emphasize the fact that Duncan went to bed in measureless content. तो आप इस वर्ड का भी इस्तेमाल, इस फ्रेज का भी इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं that he went to bed in measureless content as a result of the kind hostess which is Lady Macbeth. Macbeth says, being unprepared, our will became the servant to defect, which else should free have wrought. So he says, being unprepared for this visit, क्योंकि डनकन ने लास्ट मिनट पे कहा था कि मैं तुम्हारे कासल में आ रहा हूं, इन्वर्नेस में आ रहा हूं. तो चूंकि हम पूरी तरह से तैयार नहीं थे, इसका मतलब यह है कि हम इम्परफेक्ट होस्ट होंगे, हम पूरी तरह से परफेक्ट होस्ट नहीं रहेंगे अतिथि के लिए, जो कि इस केस में किंग डनकन है. सर्वेंट टू डिफेक्ट का मतलब वी आर imperfect hosts, which else would free have wrought. If we had been prepared, more would have been done for him. So अगर हमको प्रिपरेशन के लिए समय मिलता तो हम उनके लिए और भी बेहतर रूप से तैयार होते. So Banco says, all is well. I dreamt last night of the three weird sisters. To you, they have shown some truth. So he says, कल रात मेरे सपने में the three witches came, right? Some of what they told have come true as far as you're concerned. Why? Because they said their second prophecy was that he will become the Thane of Cawdor, and वो indeed Thane of Cawdor बन गया था. Macbeth झूठ बोलता है. So यहां पर मैकबेथ की पर्सनालिटी के बारे में एक बहुत अहम बात पता चलती है, जो हमको एक्ट 1 में भी पता चली थी, that he does not always speak the truth. So he says, I do not think of them. लेकिन जब हमारे पास 1 घंटे का समय हो, फ्री टाइम हो, मेरे को और तुम्हारे को, तब उस समय पर मुझे और तुमको थोड़ा समय फ्री मिले, तो वी वुड स्पेंड सम वर्ड्स अपॉन दैट बिजनेस. तो हम उसकी बात करेंगे अगर तुम मुझे उस चीज के लिए समय दो. ओके, तो बैंको का 3 विचेस के बारे में रेफरेंस लेना, इससे 2 बातें पता चलती हैं. एक तो ये कि वह विचेस के बारे में बात करना चाहता है. दूसरा ये कि वह इसलिए सोना नहीं चाहता है क्योंकि जब भी वो सोता है उसको 3 चुड़ैलों के बारे में, 3 विचेस के बारे में सपने आते हैं और उसको घबराहट होती है. ही फील्स ए लिटिल डिस्टर्ब्ड एंड ट्रबल्ड, which is why perhaps he doesn't want to sleep. तो आपको पहले भाग का आंसर अभी इस पैसेज में पता चल गया कि शायद उसी वजह से वह सोना नहीं चाहता है, क्योंकि जब भी वो सोता है तो शायद उसको 3 witches come in his dreams. So Macbeth says that I do not think about them, but I would like to talk about it a little more if you grant me the time. यानी कि अगर if you are willing to talk about it, I want to talk about it with you. So इससे मैकबेथ के बारे में क्या पता चलता है? See, what I'm doing is that each line के साथ I'm giving you the larger explanation, ताकि अगर आपको 5 मार्क का क्वेश्चन आए या रीजनिंग क्वेश्चन आए, आप उसको टैकल कर सकें सक्सेसफुली. तो what Macbeth is saying out here is that he does not want Banquo to know his mind. That's why he is lying, saying that मैं तो उनके बारे में सोचता ही नहीं. Okay, मेरे दिमाग में तो वो आते ही नहीं है, right? But at the same time, immediately he realizes that he may need Banquo's support later. So then he says that I would like to talk about it when you have an hour to spare. So he is trying to kind of say both things at the same time. मैं नहीं सोचता, लेकिन अगर तुम्हारे पास टाइम मिले तो मैं उसके बारे में थोड़ा बात करना चाहूंगा. So he says at your kind leisure, कि जब भी तुमको टाइम मिले. If you shall cleave to my consent when it shall make honor for you. So he says, now Macbeth is saying something very important here, and this particular passage is important. Okay, this particular passage is important. He says, if you shall cleave to my consent, यानी कि अगर तुम मेरा समर्थन करते हो, if you will support me when it is, then when the time comes, it will result in more honor for you. तब तुम्हारे रैंक और तुम्हारा रुतबा और बढ़ सकता है. It will result in more honor for you, for a higher stature for you. Okay, so Banquo says, तो Macbeth is possibly in that sense promising Banquo कि तुम्हारे को और भी ज्यादा ऑनर मिल सकते हैं, you know, as compared to what he got from Duncan, which he did not get for himself personally. He only was told that his future generation will become kings. Banquo personally did not get anything from King Duncan, whereas Macbeth got the rank of the title of the Thane of Cawdor. तो Macbeth is now promising Banquo that I will give you more honors if you cleave in my honor, if you support me. So Banquo says, and this shows us about Banquo's character. So I lose none in seeking to augment it, but still keep my bosom franchised and allegiance clear, I shall be counseled. So he says that प्रोवाइडेड आई डू नॉट लूज एनी ऑनर, कि मैं कुछ ऐसा गलत काम ना करूं कि जिससे कि मेरा अच्छा नाम खराब हो, कि अगर वो नहीं होगा तब मैं किसी भी तरह के समर्थन के लिए तैयार हूं. ही सेज I will listen to you, he says, and then I can keep a clear conscience. You know, the allegiance should be clear, कि allegiance, his allegiance is to King Duncan. तो उसके लिए मेरा एलिजेंस बिल्कुल क्लियर हो, राइट, मेरा कॉन्शियस बिल्कुल क्लियर हो और मेरे ऊपर किसी भी तरह का इल्जाम ना आए, एंड आई कैन कीप माई एलिजेंस क्लियर एंड स्टिल कीप माई बोजम फ्रेंचाइज्ड, देन आई विल लिसन टू यू. ओके, अगर ये सब ठीक है कि यानी कि बैंको does not want to do any wrong. This is his major plan. This is his major condition. Banquo says, Macbeth says, good, repose the while. So he says, yeah, you can rest for a while. Meanwhile, rest. He says, thanks, sir. The like to you. You too. So what you realize out here is that Banquo is very, very particular about his, इस phrase का आप इस्तेमाल अपने answers में कीजिए, about his moral compass. Okay, that he has to do the right thing. Unlike Macbeth, and always you see Macbeth play में Macbeth और Banquo को एक तरह से two poles of apart दिखाया गया है, that they are two different kind of people. और Macbeth की गलतियों को highlight करने के लिए Banquo की अच्छाई को हमेशा highlight किया जाता है, right? So Macbeth में Banquo in that sense remains an extremely important and significant character. तो Banquo और Fleance उस सीन से निकल जाते हैं. अब आगे के सीन को, इस जो आगे होता है उसी वजह से Act 2 Scene 1 को dagger scene कहा जाता है. So Macbeth tells his servant, who is also there, go bid thy mistress when my drink is ready, she strike upon the bell, get thee to bed. So he says, जब मेरी drink ready हो, Lady Macbeth should ring the bell, you retire for the night. Now this message is important. हालांकि उस नौकर को इस मैसेज की इंपॉर्टेंस, उसकी सिग्निफिकेंस के बारे में पता नहीं है. The bell is a signal that Lady Macbeth has successfully drugged the two security guards who are in charge of King Duncan's security, and therefore now Macbeth can go and murder him. सर्वेंट को ये बात समझ में नहीं आती है, सर्वेंट निकल जाता है. तो अभी मैकबेथ अकेला है और वो अकेला ही अपने आप से बात करता है. एंड दिस पार्ट ऑफ द सीन इज रेफर्ड टू एज ए डैगर सीन, और इस वजह से एक्ट 2 सीन 1 को भी डैगर सीन कहा जाता है. Is this a dagger which I see before me? Now he is hallucinating. Hallucinating matlab he's imagining and he's talking to himself. This is the spelling. HALLUCINATING. So is this, तो he's saying कि क्या ये खंजर है जो मेरे सामने मैं देख रहा हूं. The handle towards my hand, और उसका हैंडल मेरे हाथ की तरफ है. Come, let me hold you. I have the knot, लेकिन वो dagger move करता रहता है. So he's imagining. So he says, I'm not able to hold the dagger, and yet I am able to see you, and yet I see you still. Art thou not fatal vision? Now the dagger is referred to as a fatal vision. Now this is an important keyword. इसको remember कीजिएगा. Art thou, और ये passage generally exam point of view से important भी है. Okay. Art thou not fatal vision sensible to feeling as to sight, or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation? So he's saying out here कि I cannot see you, I cannot have you, I cannot touch you, but I can see you. You are a deadly vision. Fatal vision means, fatal का मतलब मालूम है ना, dead. Fatal is used for death, and he's calling it a deadly vision. Why? Because the dagger is the instrument with which Duncan will be killed. So he's saying that is it not possible to see you as well as touch you, right? To feeling as to sight. Or art you, या तुम, you are just a dagger of the mind, which is a false creation. यानी कि you are just a figment of my imagination, कि मैं imagine कर रहा हूं तुम्हारे बारे में, लेकिन तुम असलियत में नहीं हो. Proceeding from the heat oppressed mind. So he is talking about the feverish brain. The heat oppressed brain का मतलब it is a feverish brain. So are you a dagger only created by the mind, an illusion of my feverish brain? So fatal vision क्यों बोलाता है? Because that's what he will be using to kill Duncan. So therefore the vision is fatal as far as Duncan is concerned. So Macbeth says that I see thee yet in form as palpable as this which now I draw. कि मेरे पास जो खंजर है उसी की तरह, रियलिटी की तरह तुम ये डैगर भी दिख रहा है, ये खंजर भी दिख रहा है. Thou marshalest me the way that I was going. कि you are leading me by this to the same path on which I was also supposed to proceed towards King Duncan's chamber. And such an instrument I was to use. And I was to use इसी तरह का इंस्ट्रूमेंट खंजर I was to use in order to murder King Duncan. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses. मेरी आंखें मेरे दूसरे सेंसेस का मजाक बना रही हैं, उसको बेवकूफ बना रही हैं. Or else worth all the rest. I see thee still, and on thy blade and dudgeon gouts of blood. So he says that you are leading me on the way that I was already going, and I was planning to use a weapon just like you. कि either my eyesight is the only sense that is not working, mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses, or else worth all the rest. या तो मेरी आंखों को बाकी senses are making a fool, okay, or it is the only sense that is working. Either my eyes are the only sense which is working, the others are not working, kan, naak, whatever, or it is that the eyes are the only sense which is not functioning properly, right? So he says, I can see you, and I also see some drops of blood, gouts of blood. Drops of blood he is seeing, which was not there before, okay, on your blade and handle. Dudgeon ka matlab, blade ka matlab the sharp one, dudgeon means the handle, which was not so before. There is no such thing, it is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. So he says, now I realize that there is no dagger here, because खून तो मैंने किया ही नहीं है, खून तो मैंने किया ही नहीं है, तो इस पे खून के निशान होने का तो सवाल पैदा ही नहीं होता है, right? So it is the murder that I am planning which is giving me the false information. ये जो murder मैं करने जा रहा हूं, ये जो खून मैं करने जा रहा हूं, that is giving me false information, that is giving me some kind of a wrong information about and making me look at things which actually don't exist at all, right? So then he says, now over the one half world nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtained sleep. So he's saying that half the world is asleep, it's past midnight, and their sleep, curtained sleep means their उनकी जो नींद है उसको एक तरह से अटैक कर रहे हैं evil nightmares, जो उन सबको गलत गलत किस्म के सपने आ रहे हैं. The nightmares, their sleep is being attacked by evil nightmares, wicked dreams. Witchcraft celebrates pale, and now he is going to refer to 4 different kinds of extremely evil and negative characters. Okay, so what does it mean? You need to remember this, because even this can come as a 5-mark question in your paper. So he says that now over the one half world nature seems dead. Now what does this particular part mean? Why does he say nature seems dead? Now, it is a reference to the effect of light and darkness, of the darkness in particular, the silence of the night, because one half world, nature seems dead because it is night, and half the world is in darkness and everything seems dead. But Macbeth himself may be referring also to human nature, because he knows what he's going to do next, which is a very dark kind of deed. So you see, the whole emphasis is on the darkness of it, the fact that it is not something which is to be seen in a positive light. इसको एक अच्छे रूप में आप इसको नहीं देख सकते हैं. It is something which is to be condemned. It is something which is an extremely dark deed. Then he says, wicked dreams abuse and the curtain sleep. Witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings and withered murder. Okay, wicked dreams abuse also means that the evil of the deepest fears is it is in, see, curtained sleep नींद जब हो, यू आर एट पीस विद योरसेल्फ। लेकिन जब आप विकेड ड्रीम्स देखें, ऐसे सपने देखें जिससे कि आपको डर लगे, या ऐसे सपने देखें जो कि दे आर नॉट गिविंग यू एनी काइंड ऑफ पॉजिटिव फीलिंग इवन व्हाइल यू आर asleep, they are in contrast to each other, they are in opposition to each other, the wicked dreams are spoiling the peace of the curtained sleep. Curtained sleep matlab because you close your eyelids, so these are referred to as the curtains. Then he says witchcraft celebrates that the witches are offering sacrifices to their goddesses, कि उनकी जो देवी है उनके लिए जो witches हैं they are offering some kind of sacrifice, कोई बलि चढ़ा रही हैं. Pale Hecate's offering, okay, to their goddess Hecate. Now Hecate was a magician and she was considered the queen of the witches, so this is important. Okay, she is considered the goddess of the witches. Okay, so he's saying that, you know, witchcraft is celebrating by making offerings to Hecate. Okay, and Hecate, what she had done was she had raised a temple to goddess Diana, who is the goddess of the moon, in which she performed human sacrifice, and Hecate's offerings are the ritual sacrifices. So he says that uske baad, then the next one he goes to withered murder. This is the second reference. The first reference is Pale Hecate. The second one is withered murder. That is, withered is meaning that the murder is referred to as an old man, is personified as an old man. So having been awakened, the old man murder has been awakened, alarmed. And how has he been awakened? By the howls of the wolf, यानी कि भेड़िए के चिल्लाने की आवाज से the old man murder has been awakened. Sentinel means guard. This is guard. This is a little complicated, so just pay attention. I have to kind of go word by word before I explain. Okay, by guard. And he walks like a ghost towards his destination, whose howl is his watch. This is the howl of the wolf. जो भेड़िया, you know, एक तरह से भौंकना ही बोलेंगे, howl ही बोलते हैं उसको. I don't know what's the exact word in Hindi. Thus, with its stealthy pace, so he kind of walks like a ghost towards his destination. Who? The old man murder, because that's what he's going to do. So murder also is being personified as an old man. So withered murder is that a murder has been imagined as an old man and thereafter also as a ghost. What is the whose howls is the watch? The howl of the wolf, which is the sentinel, the guard of the night. It is like the cry of the night watchman calling out the time of the night. Okay, then the third one is the wolf. The fourth one is Tarquin, okay, who is an extremely negative character. He was a Roman king. In fact, I think he was the last Roman king who raped and murdered his cousin's wife Lucy's in the 5th century BC. And Macbeth is now comparing himself to Tarquin, which shows that Macbeth ke subconscious mind maybe he has completely fallen down, in which he's comparing himself to someone as evil as Tarquin, and calling it ravishing strides, you know, as in very lustful kind of moves, because he's also lusting after Duncan's throne and crown and is preparing to kill a virtuous person. So these are the 4 evil characters that he is speaking about. तो इन चारों के बारे में आपको जानना जरूरी है. Hecate, withered murder, old man murder, the wolf, and Tarquin. Then he says, thou sure and firm set earth, hear not my steps. And now he's speaking to the ground. So you realize that Macbeth is, because a normal person will not do such things. He is speaking to the ground and he's saying that Meri awaaz ko mat suno, hear not my steps, do not hear my steps, which way they walk. मेरे रोंगटे खड़े हो रहे हैं. I mean, he's saying, thou sure and firm set earth, hear not my steps, which way they walk, for fear thy very stones prate of my whereabouts. So he's saying that you firm set means that earth is very solid, it's firm ground. He's saying don't listen to the sound, because when it is a firm ground, when you step on it, you are likely to hear it. अगर गीली मिट्टी होगी उसके ऊपर आप चलेंगे तो आवाज नहीं आएगी. So when there is a concrete kind of a ground flooring, you are likely to hear the sound of the footsteps. So he does not want the floor to hear the footsteps of Macbeth. So he says, don't listen to the sound of my footsteps or try to find out which direction they are going to. He does not want them to be a witness to the direction in which he's going, which is Duncan's chamber. He says, because मुझे डर है कि ये जो पत्थर हैं जिससे कि फ्लोरिंग बनी हुई है, thy very stones, ये जो पत्थर हैं, they will gossip about कि मैं कहां पर गया हूं. They will gossip. Prate का मतलब gossip. Okay, that they will gossip about where I am going, okay, and reveal where I am and break the awful silence which is appropriate for me to do what I am going to do. क्योंकि मुझे complete शांति होने की जरूरत है, लेकिन ये आपस में खुसफुसाहट करेंगी ये बताने के लिए कि देखो देखो मैकबेथ कहां पर जा रहा है, right? So he's personifying what? He's personifying the stones of the floor of the earth. Whilst I thread, he lives words to the heat of deeds too cold breath gives. So he's saying that I'm going now and the deed is as good as done. Oh, sorry, वो तो बाद में आता है, sorry. Okay, so he's sorry. He says, while I talk here, जब मैं यहाँ पर बात कर रहा हूँ, वो वहां पर जिंदा है. कौन? डंकन. Words to the heat of deeds too cold breath gives. So he says, talking destroys. जितना मैं बात कर रहा हूँ उससे एक तरह से मेरे में जो रोष है कि मेरे को वहां पर जाके ये काम करना है, वो रोष एक तरह से ठंडा होता है. It kind of gets cooled down. It kind of cools the heat of my willingness to commit the murder, right? So you realize that Macbeth is also vacillating. He knows that talking will destroy his evil passion. So he wants to remain focused. So you realize that when he's alone, he's talking all this kind of sensible stuff. He's kind of weighing it. He knows that what he's going to do is not something which anybody will approve of. So he does not want to do any talking because that is cooling down the heat of his desire to go and commit the dark deed. So उसी समय पर बेल बजती है. कौन बजाती है? लेडी मैकबेथ. एंड ये हमेशा देखो कि जब भी वो मैकबेथ के मन में एक तरह से वैसिलेटिंग होता है, एक तरह से ही थिंक्स कि करना है नहीं करना है, उसी टाइम पर लेडी मैकबेथ का किसी ना किसी तरह का इशारा आता है या वो खुद प्रकट होती हैं. तो बेल रिंग होती है. ही सेज, आई एम गोइंग नाउ एंड द डीड इज एज गुड एज डन. ये समझो कि खून मैंने कर दिया. और डंकन, तुम भी इस बेल की आवाज को मत सुनो, क्योंकि ये बेल तुमको स्वर्ग या पाताल लोक में समन कर रही है. बिकॉज इट इज ए नेल, इट इज ए साउंड, ओके, विच इज समनिंग यू ईदर टू हेवन और टू हेल. तो ही डज नॉट वांट डंकन टू हियर इट एंड अवेक बिकॉज ऑफ द साउंड ऑफ द बेल. सो दैट्स व्हाट इज हैपनिंग. एंड आप एक चीज और देखिए, एक्ट 1 सीन 1 में क्या था? We were talking about, the sisters were talking act 1 scene 3 वगैरह में भी they were talking in bell. Here he talks about bell and hell. So it's almost rhyming with how the witches were talking. So Macbeth is moving closer and closer to how the witches were in the earlier part of the play. So with this we come to the end of act 2 scene 1. I hope समझ में आ गया होगा. अगर आप में से जो भी मेरे कोर्स में शामिल नहीं है, what you could possibly look at is to look at, कई लोग मुझसे वर्कबुक के बारे में पूछते हैं. मैकबेथ की जो बुक्स हैं, आलमंड बुक्स, ये तो टेक्स्ट बुक है, ओके. इसके साथ साथ एक वर्कबुक भी है आलमंड बुक्स की, विच इज वेरी गुड. यू कैन लुक एट दैट एज एन ऑप्शन. अगर, बिकॉज आई थिंक अमंग ऑल द वर्कबुक्स आलमंड बुक्स की वर्कबुक सबसे बेहतर है. So you can look at it. If you use the Study with Sudhir coupon code, this is something which they have given us to give it to our SWS students. You will get a 10% discount as well as free delivery of the book. So it's entirely up to you. अगर आपके पास दूसरी कोई वर्कबुक है जिससे कि आप खुश हैं, so perfectly all right. Otherwise you can, अगर आपने कुछ नहीं खरीदी है तो आमंड बुक्स पर आप नजर डाल सकते हैं. लेकिन अगर आप हमारे कोर्स में शामिल हैं तो कोई भी बुक, कोई भी वर्कबुक खरीदने की जरूरत नहीं है. एवरीथिंग, इट्स अ वेरी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव कोर्स. वो सब मैं तुमको कोर्स में दे दूंगा. ओके, 11th and later on in 12th. Thank you very much. Now I'll see you in Act 2, Scene 2. Tata, bye bye.